Here is my review for the DP Biology IA draft for anonymous student L. Firstly, when I look at this, what I see is links are way too long. Have a look at this. One link. The link should be as short as possible while being distinct from other sources. There may be others starting with Marlin, but the rest of this, no. So this could be shortened considerably. And you see this as you go through this, that all the way down, there are very long sources. Secondly, there's some good information here. However, it needs a source. Otherwise, it's just your conjecture. Moving to the next page. Sure, these things have a unit. That's your problem. Ditto here. Now, where on the shore are we talking about? Where? Be specific. Give the details. When I look at your hypotheses here, no, this is a statistical hypothesis, not a scientific hypothesis. That would be if something changes, then something happens because some reason. And that's not what we see here. Moving down, I like your independent variable. This looks all right. Again, labeling. This should be table 1, which makes it easier to refer to as you write about it. No table should not be referred to. Otherwise, it's just hanging. It's not really part of the report. Coming down here, there's a size. Big question over here is why this size? If you're trying to get into the 5-6 band, moving down here, okay, what if something is half in, half out? What are you doing? Doesn't say. Now the command for this is in your method, which is good. So this will be table 2. An indentification guide, I think there's a language issue there because you do it a few times through your report. I would start with step 0, i.e. renumber, consult a tide guide so that you get appropriate day or time of day to go to this place. We didn't arrive at high tide. Actually, we arrived when the tide was a wee bit high, but we let it drop. We used a tide guide. Details. What are we talking about here? Use ChatGPT to rent how many? I have no idea. Also, add the specific command you used. It'll be in your AI record. Because, what are we talking about here? Now, this just starts to really annoy me here. What quadrant? It's not part of a circle. Indentification. Quadrant. Little things that can be fixed very quickly. Looking at step 11, probably the total abundance, because you've got abundance of each species as well. Step 12, a few more details. How many? You're talking about doesn't have a sufficient range. Let's count out how many extras. And at what height? Details again. So we know what's happening here. Down here, a lot more is needed. What does that mean? Really, you want to start table 1 on this page and then have it on the next page? No. Come and click at the front and either use Control Enter or Command Enter on a Mac so your title is on the same page as your table. Now, you got words taken up more than one line for one word. When I look at this, I'd be like, okay, I need to reduce the font size of those so it fits on one page. Looking at your method, you used a second and a third transectate. Does that information need to be added to this? Look, we're back to 1 meter here. That's the second transect, so that should probably be 21. Add 20 to all of those. Coming down here, same again. It's not starting again, it's at the further distance. Make sure it's making sense. This will be like 40.9, I believe. Work your way through so that the distances make sense. I do like that the whole table is on one page. Abundance. Abundant what? We have no idea what that is. Per 50 centimetre by 50 centimetre quadrat. What are the error bars? I like their different sizes. That's an indicator that it's correct. So you need to be telling us error bars equal, I'm not going to write it all, standard deviation, so that that's really clear. This goes for all of your tables. Interesting when I look at this one, something you may not have picked up on. So there's never any barnacles when dog whelks are present. Interesting when that's what you're looking at. I don't think you picked that as you talked about your findings. Again, here there appears to be a lot more limpets and there are fewer dog whelks. So there are some trends here I'm not sure you do a good job of discussing. Righty-ho, we're down to, I think it's table 4 now, uncertain, but you'll be able to check that. Did you actually do all of this equation by hand, as you're suggesting here, or did you use a website? If you used a website, then say so. Tell them the name of the website, give the link, use the function. If you did it all by hand, cool, but make sure it's clear, because I don't know as I read this. Now, looking at your conclusion, I think you need to revisit this. Your statistical test just told us that that was not statistically significant. So when you start saying there's a weak positive relation, hold on a minute, you've just contradicted. Start off with this. The relationship was not statistically significant. Maybe it appeared to be a trend, not enough data to be sure. A nice way to get into it without appearing to contradict yourself. Coming through here, the conclusion is for 2 strands. The first one, talk about your trend, talk about the statistics, talk about the meaning of the overlap of error bars, etc. The second strand is where you compare to published data. This is the whole second strand. Everything up to here is the first strand. All of this is still the first strand. All of this. I ask you, do you think you've got enough information here to get a good mark? Have you stated, described, or explained using published sources? Now just lose it. The new criteria gives nothing for strengths. It's just using up your word count. If you were keeping it, I'd suggest this column should be wider than that to take up less space, but lose it. Same on the next page. We do not need this. It's not part of the curriculum, not part of the criteria. It's just word count. I would suggest you look at your improvements. Have you stated them? You're in the 1 to 2 basket. Have you described them? You're in the 3-4 basket. Have you actually explained them to get into the 5-6 basket? Think it's something for you to revisit. Coming down here, why would you split this? You need to figure out how not to make sure that it's easily and well communicated. You've got quite a big margin here and here. Is your document set to A4 rather than US letter? Looking at your bibliography, remember we use MLA, so this is called Works Cited. And all of these entries should be format hanging. Again, watch my video on how to do this if you're not sure. Looks good. Most here it's in alphabetical order. I see you have 2 Marlin entries that are identical up to here. So for the really long citations at the beginning, each one needs one more word so that they are now able to be distinguished as in-text citations. You don't need the whole title as you used. We're down to M, S, T, looking good, G. Hold on a minute, nearly alphabetical order. That needs to go well up. The final thing I'd suggest here is that only some of your sites have an access date. They all should. Make these changes, your IA will be in much better shape.